Hey there, I'm Chris, and today we're going to talk about getting started with mace. I've spent the last few years using kettlebells, clubs, and steel mace to remake my 50-something-year-old body from stiff and old with chronic pain to young and strong and pain-free. And I'm trying to share how I did it and what I've learned along the way. So with that, let's talk about getting started with mace. Mace is a unique piece of exercise equipment. It's probably unlike anything you've ever picked up before. For me, I wasn't sure if I was going to use mace. I got into kettlebells, I got into clubs, and mace always showed up in my video feed, and I was intrigued by it, but I wasn't sure I was going to do it. I ended up going to Home Depot one time, and not on purpose, just I was at Home Depot, but while I was walking down an aisle, I just had to pick up a sledgehammer and say, okay, what would it be like? And it felt kind of good, swinging it around a little bit. So I said, this is it. I'm going to go down the mace path. So when you're going down the mace path, Mace 360s are the foundational mace exercise. Kind of like kettlebell swings can get you 70 to 80% of the benefit of kettlebells. You got the hip hinge, you got the entire backside muscle stretch flex, from your feet to your ankles, to your hamstrings, to your hips, to your back, to your shoulders. Swing is a really important exercise to learn for kettlebell. Mace 360 is similar for mace. If all you did was Mace 360s, you are going to get a benefit from using mace. So, that being said, if you start with Mace 360s, the movement is similar to things that you've probably done with kettlebell. If you've done kettlebell halos, that's a great place to start. You're just moving your arms around the back of your head and out the other side. If you do clubs, you've probably done a shield cast. Maybe you started with two-hand and then you go to one-handed. Well, mace is the same kind of movement. The lever is longer, the weight is further away from your hands, so it's a little bit more swing and a little bit less muscle. You let gravity do its thing, momentum, motion, all of that stuff kind of makes it a really graceful exercise. And sometimes you don't even realize how hard you're working until you get several reps in or several sets in, and you get fatigued. You feel it. Anyway, great exercise. So that's where I would start is doing 360s. The other thing, just like everything else with kettlebell, whatever you do with your left hand, you want to do with your right hand. Same thing with club. You want to stay in balance and use the same weights and do the same exercises. The goal is body balance and body coordination. And even with something as simple as Mace 360s, you can go right hand on top toward the right. You can go right hand on top toward the left hand on top toward the right, and left hand on top toward the left. So there's 4 different swing movements or muscle patterns, movement patterns, just with the 360. So keep that in mind. If you've watched videos online about mace flow and people doing like what looks like poetry in motion, ballet or yoga with a mace, forget about that coming out of the gate. Even if you use a 7-pound mace, the smallest mace you can find, those movements are going to be so difficult, and you're probably going to not be real fluid starting out. But there are a lot of videos out there that, I shouldn't say a lot. There are some videos you can search for and you can find on transitions. And that's what I would start with, is putting together transitions. If you do a 360 and then you transition into something else, do an uppercut, and then come back and do a 360 and transition into something else, maybe a toe tap or a grave digger. And then you do a 360 and you can do a split step lunge. And then you can do a 360 and you can do an archer. You could do a 360, so you could do a prayer transition. You could do a barbell transition. You can go down to one hand and do a shield cast, or do a inside circle and flip the mace 180 degrees and catch the heavy part. As you get better at one movement, First of all, it becomes more comfortable, so you can do it more often, so it becomes more of a workout, and you can start stringing 2 and 3 movements together to have a complex. Secondly, once you own one movement, it's kind of cool to go experiment with another movement. And so I still do that even today. I have a light mace, 10-pound mace by my desk at work. I sit at a computer all day long. And every once in a while, every hour, every couple hours, I can stand up, even if I'm on a Zoom meeting, and I can just grab my 10-pound mace and do a couple of 360s and then play with some transitions or something just for 1 or 2 minutes. And it loosens up my shoulders, my neck, my spine. Like, it just makes you feel better. So I'm a big fan of just experimenting. You do one thing at a time. You start with a lightweight. You start with a simple movement. Hopefully this has been beneficial for you. You learned something, or made you think of something that you hadn't thought of before. If it has, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have a question or a topic that you want me to talk about next. I'm sure we'll be talking about Mace plenty over the next several months, but it's one of my favorite things. Mace makes me feel younger. That's all for today. Hope you get a chance to try Mace. Go have a great day and go get better.